Hi guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I am the Dean of the Academy, and today we have a very special WWW Wednesday. As you see, I'm a diehard Redskin fan, have been since the 80s, and since before I was even born, there was talk of the Redskins needing to change their name. That has been recently brought up with the events that have been occurring in this country. And I've been asked several times by my coworkers, what did I think of the name change? And I've told them, hey, I've been hearing about this ever since I've been a Redskin fan. Those of you who don't know, my heritage is actually German-Russian. However, I do have a little bit of Indian in me as well. So not saying that I'm speaking as an Indian or as a Native American, but with all of this going on, I want us to think back and think of everything that's going on in this country in the past months, between the coronavirus, between the death and murder of George Floyd, and the protesting that's happened since then, and the social injustice and the stance that everyone's taking. I want to ask this question. The white people who are angry, who are upset, who are distraught about what's going on, were you that way before? A year ago today, were you even thinking about social injustice? Were you even thinking about doing anything to help your fellow man, to help the minorities? And let's forget about the whole Black Lives Matter thing for a second, and let's think about what other lives matter. Do Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, do their lives matter as well? See, these are questions that I ask. These are questions that my children ask me, is why is everyone so wrapped up in just one race? Isn't that racism as well? I don't believe I'm qualified to answer that question, but I think I'm qualified to ask the question. And see, a lot of people out there, they want to throw up the fact that we live in a free country and, you know, we should be free to express ourselves and all those things. Well, last time I checked, the Constitution doesn't protect your feelings. Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means you don't agree with it. Now, there are some things that are inherently wrong. As a Christian, I can tell you from reading my Bible that God loves everyone. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, even what religion you are. The Bible tells us that God is no respecter of persons. He doesn't care what your economic status is. He doesn't care what your skin color is. He didn't go up on the cross just if you were white, or just if you were black, just if you were Asian or Hispanic. He went up for all races, for all peoples. As far as the name change for the Washington Redskins, I urge you to look up the origin of the term Redskin. The term Redskin was used by Native Americans as a term of honor, a term of endearment. It referred to the braves that would go out and defend their homes, defend their people at wartime. It was an honor to be called a Redskin. Since that time, other individuals, other whites, have used that term disparagingly. And it has become the accepted term, or the accepted definition of that term. You know, there's a lot of upheaval about racism, about people who were racist back in the 60s, the 70s. Even the original owner of the Washington Redskins was a racist. I know this. I accept this because it's fact, not because I agree with it. Just the same thing as, the Civil War happened. They were fighting on both sides for opposite reasons. The South supported slavery. Why? Because they needed a workforce that they didn't want to pay for to produce what was making their economy strong. The North had industry. Now, people might disagree with certain views of people from the South, older views, the Confederate flag, General Lee, Stonewall Jackson. Okay, there's all these statues being torn down. My question is why? Instead of looking at it as we're glorifying a past that we're not proud of, a past that took us down a dark road that we don't want to go down again. How about we just leave them up there and point to them and go, that's what not to do. That's what not to be. If you erase it, if you take it away, if you try to cover it up, then aren't we doomed to repeat it in the future when we don't have anything to look back on? Just because you remove something from sight doesn't mean it didn't happen. It happened. Accept it. Learn from it. Grow from it. Become better than we were. Now, Mr. Snyder, if this video somehow gets to you, the CEO of FedEx, who is the sponsor of the Redskins, where the Redskins play at FedEx Field in Maryland, in Landover, if this gets to you, I want to ask you this question. If it was the right thing to do, shouldn't you have done it a long time ago? Are you doing it just because you're pressured? And does pressure change really change? If you're forced into something that's not from the heart, does it really mean anything? I'll tell you right now, you can't make someone love you by forcing yourself on them. That person that you force yourself on, I believe there's a term for that, and I believe it's illegal. You don't force what is right. What is right should be done naturally and for the right reasons. Forced change is not change. We don't live in a country where we have to live in fear of the government coming and knocking on our door and telling us that we're doing wrong. We are allowed by the Constitution to live how we deem fit within the laws of our country. If I want to worship Allah, if I want to worship at a mosque, at a Catholic church, at a Baptist church, at a Pentecostal church, if I want to practice voodoo, guess what? We're allowed. But let's say that tomorrow or next week, they deem everything except one religion offensive. And they deem it wrong. And they force you to change. Is that really change? Is it right? No. It's not. We know that now. We wouldn't accept it. Just because my view differs from yours doesn't mean that either one of us are wrong. It just means that we're different, and that's what this country was built on. It was built on the foundation of the fact that we could come to this land and we could worship and live how we deem fit. We are different from the rest of the world. We are supposed to be a United States of America. Right now, we're the divided states of America. If you're watching this video, I urge you, think about the actions that you're taking for your fellow man. If those actions are heartfelt, congratulations. Thank you. Your fellow man appreciates that. But if you're doing what you're doing out of guilt, how much does it really mean? I've asked some hard questions, I hope, because we live in a society where adults have to take gummies for their vitamins. When did that become a thing? I thought gummies were for children. They're soft, they're squishy, it's easy. Guess what, America? Wake up. Life ain't easy. It's supposed to be hard. That's what makes it worth living. Now, this episode of Fantasy Football Academy 2020 has been a little different, a little harder. But I hope that it's opened up some eyes, opened up some ears, and opened up a line of communication. So, until next time, remember, are you doing what you're doing from the right place? If not, work on yourself before you start working on others. And whatever you can do for your fellow man, regardless of skin color or economic status, reach a hand out. Reach a hand up. Pull them up. Help them out. Anyone who has a comment, regardless of what it is, I welcome it all. Comment, like, share down below. I look forward to hearing from you. This has been the Dean with Fantasy Football Academy 2020. God bless America.